Alright. Got another matchup here in the round of 8 in the CiC Qualifier event. This time it's SynC eSports taking on Sweet Like Ice, which is not sweet. If you ever had ice before, it is not sweet. So hence the hilarity of their name. Obviously, this is the one of the one or done events, and not one or done. This is the winner go home sort of type thing, although that's not even true either, so I don't even know what I'm talking about, do I? Best of 3 matchup between these two teams. Winner goes on the Pro League, and the loser gets relegated to a death match, which then will be a winner go home event. So far here, though, we've got bans coming out. Puppet Master and Torture being removed by the Lens Meister on the Legion side, removing obviously very strong support and the strong laning carry. Puppet Master, Hellborn have taken out Kronos and Rhapsody, the other strong support, and the obviously very strong suicide option in Kronos. So bans on 4 heroes that we see banned all the time, and none of those are particularly surprising, and they all make a ton of sense. So far, picks are out with Ophelia, Wretched Hag, and Drunken Master getting picked up by the Legion side. A really strong draft from them already. Ophelia a little bit less powerful now than she was, considering the jungle changes to the jungle, but considering how powerful she was, that's not saying too much because she's still one of the top heroes in the game. Hag and Drunken Master, obviously both offering a considerable amount of versatility. You can play them in any of the 3 lanes in really any role, as long as they're farmers and 2 heroes that provide a lot of gank potential as well as some solid team fight from Hag. So Legion side looking pretty strong so far. Good push, nice team fight abilities, and some good ganking. Looking for 1 support and something else. Could be anything. Could be suicide, could be a mid, and it could be a short lane carry. So we'll see what they choose to go for. But their options are definitely open, and you always like to see that whenever you've got a draft coming out from a strong team. Hellborn are going to start their day off with Bubbles, Engineer, and Parasite getting picked up, so countering the Legion's jungle with one of their own. Parasite, perhaps the only hero that does a little bit better in Ophelia in the jungle now with the changes to the camps. Ophelia a little bit less reliable as she doesn't have a consistent stable of excellent creeps to help her farm and gank anymore. Parasite can actually deal with that versatility a little bit better in many ways, so right up there with Ophelia in terms of jungle quality. Tempest, I think, pretty much on the same level. It used to be Ophelia was tier 1, I think Tempest was tier 2, and Parasite was tier 3, and the changes have really evened them out a lot, where they're all similar in their ability to do well in a game, and they just offer a little bit different. Parasite's a little more gank oriented, Tempest a little more farm oriented, Ophelia's a little bit in the middle. But all 3 strong heroes, obviously. Parasite picking a ton of sense, and the Engineer selection obviously very powerful, as is Bubbles, once again harkening to that versatility. Engineer almost certainly be seen in that middle lane, so we're looking at a mid-initiator type, probably a short laner that can solo for the Hellborn side. And the Legion side have finished their bans out, Ravener, Magmus, and Gauntlet, so removing a lot of options that pair well with the Engineer, trying to make sure that the Hellborn don't have the best ability to stick NG and in the mid and give him a strong kill lane. Obviously makes a ton of sense there. Very powerful support when paired with the right hero, and removing some options there is Lens Meister so that he is not quite as effective as he might normally be. Archie Tiger actually banning some pretty similar heroes in both Kraken and Devourer. Obviously some versatility as well with Kraken. If you pick up the Kraken there and the support, it's like, I have no idea what the lane should be, because that's 3 heroes that could lane in any of the 3 lanes. Well, yeah, I think you might have some idea based on the heroes, but or where the heroes go and who's playing what, but still. Glacius obviously being banned out, as the Hellborn have already picked up their support and the Legion have not. I'm not sure if I would have targeted the Glacius there. Perhaps Empath would have made a little more sense. Master of Arms. A little bit more popular, a little more powerful in terms of support options. They are soft picking Rally and Pebbles. I hope they don't pick Rally. Pebbles would make sense here, as most of the mid heroes are more or less banned out. I think Hellborn, actually, if they go for Pebbles, that would make a lot of sense, because it would really limit the options of the Legion side, and perhaps force them into picking something that isn't quite as good. But the Pyromancer selection will be number 4, and I like that decision, as he is, I think, perhaps a little bit underrated as a support. You see the burst damage that he provides is pretty substantial, especially for a support hero, more than pretty much anybody else. So that'll be interesting to see. You can also, see him run as a carry. We don't see it very often, but it's possible that you could run Pyromancer in a farming role. He does provide a lot of burst damage, like I said before. He has, strong initiation potential with that portal key once he picks it up, and the Frenzy gives him some late game auto attack damage, or speed really, and you get damage on top of that, and he turns into a reasonable semi-carry. And considering they already have Wretched Hag and Drunken Master, they've basically got the late game sewn up here, because Bubble doesn't have that much late, Parasite doesn't do well that late, and it looks like Slither here, which will be their 4th pick, and their short lane solo, is a strong late game hero, but not as powerful as those 3 would be. And it will, in fact, be the Rally as their 5th pick. So I'm not a huge fan of that. It's going to mean Flensmeister is going to be the carry on Hag. Drunken Master is going to be the mid, I'm thinking, and we're going to see a Suicide Rally. No, could see a Suicide Drunken. Could be either. I don't know. That's the advantage of the versatility, of course, as Rally can play both that mid and that Suicide role. So Legion's lane's a little harder to figure. Flensmeister going to be in the short lane, no doubt, with Ophelia in the woods. Penny is going to be on Pyromancer, and we'll see, depending on who's playing what between Mickey and Keizu, it's basically going to determine what the lanes are for this Legion side. Hellborn looking for the last pickup here. It will be Meraxes. That's fine, I think. I'm not a huge fan of that, just because Engineer's stun is not easy to land, and Meraxes needs to be right next to a hero in order to stun them. So, and I think I'd like a hero a little more late game. Pestilence would have made a lot more sense than Meraxes, I think, in this situation. Largely similar heroes, both strong laners, similar stuns, but Pestilence gives a little bit more in terms of the late game potential. So, not a huge fan of the Meraxes pickup, but we'll see how it does. And it looks like we're going to see a Suicide Drunken as Mickey is playing the Rally, and Keizu is playing the Drunken Master. So I'm expecting to see a top solo Drunken, middle lane of Rally Pyromancer, a solo Wretched Hag bottom, and an Ophelia in her own woods. I didn't turn auto skip pause on, so let's see if that actually matters at any point this game. Hellborn side, also pretty similar, short lane Slither, and maybe a Parasite Woods with NG Meraxes in the mid, and a long lane Bubbles. So, we'll see how this works out, but at this point I do favor the Legion's draft, not just because it's SynC versus Ice, so SynC probably has the advantage in terms of player skill and coordination, but also because I feel like they did get the better end of the draft. I like Parasite a little more than I used to, considering the jungle changes, but Ophelia is still a strong hero, so 1v1 there, that works out well. I think Legion has the substantially better late game. Hellborn have definitely the better team fight, with the energy field, the kelp field, and the poison burst coming out from the Slither. But we'll see how their gank works out. Parasite and Bubbles obviously a strong combination, pretty heavy magic damage. But the Legion side have quite a lot of that too. They got the burst from Wretched Hag, they've got physical damage jumping in from both Rally and Drunken Master, and then the burst from Pyromancer, and potentially a lot of CC tools from Ophelia. So we'll see how this works out. Actually, they're doing some switch-ups here. They're going to run a long lane, dual lane. I like this. I've got the numbers. I don't know how many people know what I'm talking about, but I do a lot of stat keeping for various matches, and Suicides in general have seen a significant drop-off in their effectiveness. A lot of true Suicides nowadays are not winning a lot of games, Bubbles and Drunken Master being the first ones to come to mind. It seems like the long lane, dual lane may be making a comeback, and for a good reason, because it seems like this is doing a lot better in terms of the ability for a hero to take off. Just not having that one hero always get shut down in every single game and then having to recover, etc., etc. Mid lane, obviously, Drunken Master up against a dual lane isn't going to have the greatest time in the world, but it's not going to be easy for them to kill him. They've got a bunch of skill shots here that have to land, and Drunken has the easy getaway in the stagger, so down goes the stun, another stun. He's going to take a fair bit of damage here, but he's not going to drop once again because he's got a decent enough getaway. It's not even that good a getaway, but has plenty of potential to be able to live, even when that aggression is going to come out fairly regularly. So no doubt Meraxes will win this middle lane because he has the support of Engineer, but at the same time, Keizu should not have a terrible time. And it's also going to be a lot harder for Slither up in this top lane as a solo to be able to take off. And obviously, anytime you have a carry, you'd like to get them as farmed as possible, as early as possible. So when you can't do that, it presents a bit of a problem. And you can see already here, Baltazar at 96 gold per minute compared to Mickey at 200 GPM. And things already are not working out particularly well for them. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Wretched Hag versus Bubbles. Actually, this is a matchup that the Bubbles can win. Bubbles here sitting at 170 GPM compared to 260. Actually up top, I'm completely missing Bloodlust as they dive Slither pretty heavily. So, nice run there from Ophelia, grabbing the Minotaur and using the stun quite effectively. Obviously, the 3-stun rotation there. Extremely powerful, and Balthazar will go down real early. But as I was saying before, this is a lane that Bubbles can win. He's got more burst damage than Hag, and having the silence to stop Hag's blink, allowing a couple more auto attacks, is extremely valuable. So, don't be super surprised here if Flensmeister has some pretty serious trouble with Bubbles here. And actually putting a lot of auto attacks in here, Flens might want to be a little more careful. Drops the health bot, and he will be alright. Bubbles also sitting in a health bot. Perhaps he needs a little bit more mana, but if he is able to get that, then he could certainly turn this into a strong lane. And as you can see now, he's turned this around. 230 gold per minute compared to 220 for Flens. So all of a sudden, Bubbles is winning this lane. And off to the side here, Hasted Engineer coming in, looking like they want to set something up in this Hag. Almost certainly not going to be a kill because they don't have the mana on Bubbles to be able to follow that up. So NG's rotation actually will not be completed, and he will head back to the middle lane. So we'll see how that works out for them. Obviously, Kaiser here level 4, enjoying the level advantage thanks to the 2v1, and not farming badly at all. 240 gold per minute compared to 320 from Meraxis. So, like I said before, not a huge surprise that Meraxis would in this lane, but Kaiser is holding his own. And this is sort of a suicide, and it's sort of not in many ways. Up top, meanwhile, Balthazar getting dove once again, drops the stun. He's going to die again. Drops the poison spray on Ophelia. She's going to take a fair bit of damage, but shouldn't die. Parasite obviously looking for the gank as well in that middle lane, trying to get something on the Kaizu, but with the Catman champion, a lot harder, as he does not have the stun rotation to follow up the Meraxis and Engineer, and locking down Drunken Master while under his tower would be very difficult. So, no successful gank there, as they finish off the Slither up top once again. And Balthazar already having a really, really hard time here at 120 GPM. Getting some semblance of lane control back, and getting a few CS there as a result, but obviously the 2 deaths, pretty serious issue there, making it 280 gold per minute compared to just 140 for Slither. And I think they really might consider rotating at this point. Engineer is not doing too much down here as a mid support with this. Meraxis has already basically won this lane 340 GPM compared to 260 from Kaizu, highest farmer in the game. Engineer doesn't need to be here. They need to go top. He needs to rotate top and help address the fact that the Slither's getting shut down as badly as he is, because it's not going to be very good for them if Balthazar has such a bad start. It's one thing to have a bad start, it's another thing to have a completely shut down start, and that's not really something that you can let happen. And if they did that, I think they could actually be in a pretty strong position here, because Bubbles is winning this lane. 211 GPM on Flens compared to 250 on Bubbles, and once they hit 6, Bubbles could absolutely take out this Wretched Hag, dropping Shellster, Song of the Sea, and Kelfield on top of her. That can do plenty of damage, and in many ways too much for Hag to handle, considering how squishy she generally is. 400 health here. If Bubbles can get his full complement of spells off, which is 100, 250, so 350. So he's got enough right now. So once he hits 6, he'll have his full combo. And if he drops a Kelfield and then follows up with the Shell Surf and the Song of the Sea, he could very well kill this Wretched Hag. Gets delivered some regen here, and is clearly looking to set something up. But obviously Hag, having her own word of sight, knows exactly what's going on there. And as they are both level 6, so I would expect to see some aggression down here from Bubbles. Shellsurf does barely snipe out Hag. 6-minute rune will be bottled up by Bubs, and that's going to be pretty huge as well. That's going to get him his mana back. Obviously would have preferred an actual rune, but the refresh will make sense. And I'd love to see some aggression here. just, I mean, you have the advantage at this point. Hag has Bat Blast, which is nice, and level 3 Sonar Scream, but Bubbles, he's got Take Cover, so if he plays this even sort of correctly, he should be able to do just fine if Wretched Hag tries to return the aggression. Shell Surf missing there, obviously. Bit of an issue, but we'll just heal right back up. The Bottle Charge. I'd really like... Oh, man, this is killing me. Bubbles is out farming her, so I mean, at this point, maybe there's no reason to go super aggressive, but at the same time, I think if you can get a kill on this Hag, that'd be huge. Nice Shell Surf there, does a ton of damage, so that's what I'm talking about, it's so much. Top lane looks like Pyro's eating his way into the trees here, trying to get a jump. Two Rift Wards right next to each other. And Drunken Master's here as well, so it's actually stun misses from Pyro, and they're going to turn this on to end up being a 1-for-1. So Balthazar does drop, but they just get the kill on Panny at the same time. It's always nice, obviously. Ophelia doing some counter warding here for Flens. And now Bubbles might be in some trouble, going to run right into this stuff. Couple more auto attacks here from Ophelia, not going to be enough. Meanwhile, up top, Architecture actually falls as well. Sorry, wrong thing. And so he gets jumped out of the Catman. And no, that's a hasted Drunken Master, that's why. And Compel Stun will kill him, or help kill him at least. Bubbles here has Haunt on him, but should be just fine. I feel like this is such a wasted opportunity. Regen Rune bottom, and oh man, that's going to be painful, because now Bubbles can't do this anymore. I feel like Bubbles absolutely could have had a kill onto Wretched Hag there. And instead, just did not go for the aggression. Now that Hag has a level advantage, she's got a Regen Rune. It's going to be much harder for him to actually do anything. And he's still winning this lane in terms of CS, so it's not really the biggest deal, but... I do compliment that you do have to compliment the job that Viper's doing down here, because he is massively out CSing this Wretched Hag, 36 and 5 compared to 44 and 17. Just, yeah, get him. Oh, he's got no blink, man. Come on. Or he's got one blink, I guess. Shell Surf off to the side will not connect. Regen Rune popped, as obviously Hag knew that she had that. Middle lane, a bit of aggression there, but not too much. So Hag gonna get right back to full, getting all of her mana. This is killing me. You've got full mana. She's got 682 health. You should be able to combo her down. That's 280 magic damage. 100 is 100, so that's 380. 500 magic damage. So a few auto attacks and the full combo spells and she's dead. It definitely would have worked before. I'm not so sure now because she's picked up some health. But I keep focusing on it, and I should talk about something else. But man, it's frustrating because it just feels like Bubbles has the opportunity to get a kill there. In the meantime, the Legion side is expanding their golden experience lead, especially thanks to this top lane where Rally's at 350 gold per minute compared to Balthazar at 180. And Keizu actually will get spotted out by not only Parasite but the creep wave as well. Wolf Commander taken over by Parasite, and he's now going to try to pursue this a little bit. Keizu dragging the creeps into the lane. We'll see if they can try to turn this. Poison Spray missed there from Souther. Top tower is actually taking a fair bit of damage too. Bottom lane Ophelia looking for the gank on Bubbles once again. Obviously going to be difficult to set up thanks to that shell surf. But there goes Hag, right in there, looking for it. Take cover, goes down already. They're trying to anticipate the shell surf. And he drops the shell. Oh, there, nice. Now you're in trouble, buddy. Top lane, meanwhile, Archie Tiger actually drops once again as he gets caught out of Wolf Commander and will be finished off with a auto attack from KZU. So, 2 more kills going in favor of Legion side, and I just feel like Hellborn are so passive. I mean, look, Bubbles, if you're not going to try to kill this Hag down here, rotate. You know, you're level 8. You've got a kelp field, you haven't used it yet. It's 11.5 minutes in. Go up top, try to kill the rally. Head middle, try to take KZU out. I mean, we've seen KZU rotate top like 3 times. We've seen Ophelia rotate over from the jungle a couple of times. I don't think Parasite has ganked once. Or successfully, at least. Hasn't really tried to. 126 gold per minute. Archie Tiger just not having a good game. Bubbles heading back to the bottom lane once again. And it's such a difficult thing because Biver's playing this really well, and mechanically, like, he's obviously doing well. He's at 260 gold per minute, which is now just below Hag, despite the fact that he's taken the death. And he's doing a really good job of accumulating farm in this lane, but it feels like the strategy's not there. Invis Pyromancer now going to set up yet another gank, and could be in a lot of trouble. Doesn't actually block Bubbles, so does not know that he's there. Nice! Oh, missed the stun there, that's painful, and the shell surf is successful. So, it's a bit of an issue, but not the biggest deal. Counter ward going down there, but Engineer could be in some trouble. Avoids the stagger, this big tag with KZU, drops energy field, not going to be enough. She gets pushed out there, and kelp field, it will be enough. Engineer will fall here, and KZU's going to die. Or will live, and KZU dies. Somebody's living and somebody's dying. Fortike's picked up on both Rally and Meraxis there, obviously. Going to help both sides with their initiation potential. Bottom lane, meanwhile, we're going to see a pretty heavy push here. Ophelia coming in with all of her creeps, and this is going to be a pretty easy dead tower.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Lensmeister gets the last hit, 340 gold per minute all of a sudden on him. Quietly the second highest farmer in the game, after really getting shut down effectively by this Bubbles up on the bottom lane. Top lane, similar thing happening, and as Parasite is taking over a Ballista, and they're looking to push down this top tower. They're going to draw a response, though, with Pyromancer coming in. It's not going to be enough. The tower will drop. See, Rally coming in with a 4-0 decided to play him onto 2, does actually get the kill onto Adro, and they're going to turn this around to Slither as well. Rally trying to pour it out. He will not be successful. Parasite getting into the other Ballista. He will run away. Bubbles trying to pour away here, but a couple more auto attacks, and he's going to fall. So, ends up being a 3-for-1 there in favor of the Legion side, despite losing a tower. As that engagement, I think, is one they will take. Obviously, the long lane tower not nearly as important as many others. Top rune is a regen, will be picked up by KZU. So 93 hero kill lead here from SynC, as they're looking quite strong already. And Balthazar regaining a little bit of composure here at 222 GPM. And we finally see a little bit of rotation from Bubbles, then he goes right back to bottom lane. Stack some Ancients, guys. Look at the Legion side is doing it. It's a bit frustrating because Sweet Like Ice is already down a little bit just because this is SynC and this is probably the second best team in Han right now, and they're not the best team in Han, so the skill cap is there. Mick, meanwhile, jumps on top of Meraxis, but gets his kill been cancelled by the kelp field. Meraxis is going to try to live here, and is he going to be able to get... Oh my god, he's still alive. Why is he still alive? Trying to run away, Energy field gets dropped. He portal keys away, and he's going to live. Zlap in the meantime falls in the Ophelia, Actually, they're going to turn this around pretty easily. Keizu pops the regen. He's trying to get away. Mickey jumps in once again, sending 2 with the compel, and Keizu will be able to finish off Architiger on the Parasite. Pyromancer dropping a stun onto a couple as well. Bubbles taking a ton of damage. Shell surfs away. He's going to be fine. Nope. Keizu, or Flens jumping back in on that Wretched Hag, will be able to finish off Fiber on Bubbles. Now they've chased down Balthazar. He will be finished off thanks to Keizu's involvement. And over here, Rally trying to chase down this Engineer who's in a lot of trouble, trying to juke in the trees, and sort of getting away. Compel, though, will hit. And this should be a nice, easy kill. A couple auto attacks coming in from Adro, from Panny, and they will kill Adro. So, obviously a strong engagement taken there from the Legion side as they lose nobody, and they pick off 4 hero kills. Jump there once again onto Meraxis, and they're going to try to take him out. Arcane Steel goes down a little bit too late. Leech onto Drunken Master, and reinitiation there from Meraxis. They will finish off Keizu. Rally trying to get away here. Obviously does not have a portal key. Nice stun there, and the compel will be followed up. Mickey trying to play so manly here. Keizu comes in from the back. Meraxis once again barely going to live. They do finish off Mickey as he perhaps got a little too aggressive there. Bubbles should be okay as he has a Shell Surf. They're actually going to turn this around. Nice Skeleton King Steel there from Parasite. And has the King's Net at any point. Double damage picked up by Ophelia, and that looks like it's going to be the end of the engagement as the rest of the Hellborn side walks in. So they counter with a couple of kills on Sweet Like Ice's side, and that's fine. Like, I mean, they're taking decent enough team fights, especially considering they're down by a few resources. Off to the side here, Bubble's going to take some damage, but Shell Surfs away, and he'll be fine. Flens porting in there, drops the Bat Blast, does actually hit. Take cover fails, but he should be okay despite the hot damage. Obviously having that Mystic Vestments probably saved his life. Bottom lane looks like Hacks to jump in, though. That's probably not the right decision, though, as they do counter with a face hug. Newer's Blessing comes out, but a couple actually get hit, and Seismic Slam finished off Architiger, but Flensmeister will fall. Keizu trying to reinitiate onto somebody, but Adro's going crazy. Eat my turret and K, he says. Meraxis jumping back as he feels like it's not a great idea to reinitiate, but Mickey wants some more. Bubbles getting jumped down, pots to take cover, but he's going to get stunned out by Keizu, and he will die. Off to the side here, Panny jumping onto Balthazar, trying to do as much damage as he possibly can. Enseler's not going to survive this. As Portal Key drops away, Mickey's PK continually getting cancelled because he was poisoned, trying to drop it and pick it up again to get the cooldown, but obviously that did not work super well. In the meantime, we got so some pretty solid aggression from both sides, as actually they're picking up the pace of this game a little bit, but before everybody started trying to kill everybody else, I was sort of making the point that SynC is a better team, and when you're down like this, you can't afford to make a bunch of mental mistakes. You have to play at your absolute best if you want a chance of winning, and it doesn't feel to me like Sweet Like Ice is doing that. I mean, Parasite's just not having a good game. It doesn't feel like he's nearly involved enough. 1-4-4 here, 176 GPM. Balthazar did not get the protection he needed. Once they had Meraxis winning in that top lane, they needed to rotate Engineer so that he wasn't getting completely shut down. He's at 190 GPM. You can't have your carry be that ineffective and expect him to have any sort of impact. When Bubbles was winning that lane, he should have turned that into a couple of kills in other lanes to help his teammates win their lanes. He shouldn't have just been like, oh, I'm going to sit here and farm all day, because that's not where Bubbles has value. He has value if he rotates consistently. And even if he's not going to do that, he needs to get aggressive on that Hag. Take a chance, make some plays, try to kill her. Because even if you fail, you weren't supposed to win that lane anyway, and if you succeed, it can massively affect the tide of the game. Meanwhile, off the side, actually, Flensmeister are going to get caught, and Meraxis activates the ultimate, but it's not going to do too much. Over here, Engineer getting jumped by Rally will be killed by Seismic Slam.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn
Mid tower being falling as the Hellborn focused way too much attention in that top lane. Viper will get away just fine with the Shell Surf. Draws one port here with Balthazar coming in. Mickey getting chased down by Meraxis and Parasite. But 3 counters on that. Demoralizing War, obviously very powerful. And Architiger going to fall once again.
Nemesis.
So Architiger also has the Neophytes book, so presumably he was going for that Codex. Obviously not an option anymore. And puzzle box, I don't think uses that, right? Where's puzzle box? Puzzle box, puzzle box. It does. Okay, so we can go puzzle box at this point. I almost never built puzzle box, so I can never remember. Anyway, looks like we're gearing up for yet another engagement here in the middle lane, as we've got the entire Hellborn side and the entire, except for Archie Tiger, and the entire Legion side focused around this tower. So their ward off to the side doesn't do anything. Pyromancer cutting through the trees with his stun, and they're going to run right into Engineer. Jump there from Rally, but the counter jump from Miraxis on the side. Meanwhile, Balthus being the first one to pick off, so slowly doing nothing. Lap going to be countered on immediately, but so does Engineer. Archtiger trying to get away here as Parasite's going to get focused down. Kelpil gets dropped into 2 though, and Kaizu takes the stun. He's going to counter with his own stagger, and easy kill there on the Parasite. Meanwhile, off the side, Pana getting jumped by Miraxis, and Miraxis will run away as he realizes that's not a great engagement to be taking. Shell Surf gets thrown down, actually nearly kills Panny there, but obviously not enough, and he survives. Looks like they're going to try to turn this into a mid-tower push, maybe? Maybe not. Maybe not. They probably could have taken that mid-tower in my opinion, but apparently not feeling like it was worth it. All the Hellborn's cooldowns were down and most of their heroes were dead, so it would have been a 4v2 with no ults from the Hellborn side. But evidently feeling like they couldn't take that fight. Instead, just going to play a little bit safe. 12k gold, 14k experience up so far, and there's no doubt the Legion are substantially in control of this game, and I think their draft is a little bit better. I do. I don't like the Miraxis pick as a last selection. I think the rest of it was fine. I'm not sure about Slither either, but the rest of the draft was pretty good. I think the Legions were just a little bit better. But more than that, I'm not a huge fan of how they've been playing this. It feels like they're so timid. And just in my opinion, the way Han has changed, with giving more assist gold and just being more active early on is rewarded as pause comes out. So let's just skip it. Sorry about this. But much easier to just skip straight to the pause than to actually deal with it. So that's exactly what we'll do. But anyway, the way Han's changed over the last several months, aggression is prized. And if you get a lot of hero kills early, you can snowball and basically make the game unwinnable for your opponents at this point. And that's sort of what CiC is doing, and a lot of it is because, despite the fact that the Hellborn won mid lane and then won bottom lane, they just didn't rotate appropriately. They didn't use that for anything. I mean, Miraxis was the highest farmer in the game for the first 5 or 10 minutes. And he got a nice early portal key, but what has he done with it? He hasn't set up ganks. CiC's movement in the rotation has been much better, so it's not like he's always had the ability to do that, but that portal key on Miraxis has been largely ineffective. And that's what they did with the highest farmer in the game for the first 5 or 10 minutes. And now that's turned around. As we see, Kaizu is the highest farmer in the game, followed by Flensmeister and Mikke, who have all out farming everyone on the Hellborn side. Meanwhile, Zlap's at 260 gold per minute compared to 145 from Archtiger, so they won the jungle too. Legion won top and jungle, Hellborn won mid and bot, but actually jump here onto Mikke, also going to drop the Miraxis ultimate, but eats the North's Blessing, and that's not going to be enough, so Zlap trying to save his buddy there, but nice gank. And that's good. That's more of what they need to be doing. So they're going to try to turn this into a bot tower push, which is absolutely the other thing they need to be doing. They need to be taking more towers, obviously, as Legion have taken out 4 towers, including all 3 tier 1s and a tier 2. Hellborn are going to get only their 2nd tower in the game.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
Meanwhile, Legion are going to finish their 2nd tier 2 tower. So, 25 minutes in, Hellborn have taken only 2 towers, while Legion have taken 5. And it's pretty obvious to note who's doing better in that regard. And Sweet Like Ice is a team we've seen in Diamond Cycles you know, we saw them regularly compete as one of the better teams in Han, so, you know, maybe not top tier. Meanwhile, Meraxis is going to jump on top of Lensmice plus the face hug. Easy drop there. As they manage to take out the Hag as well, so that's what I like to see. As much as you can, keep doing that. Ward up the woods. You know, don't let them farm in their own jungle. Protect your woods. Just do every. Get aggressive. You weren't doing that before. It wasn't working out for you, so change it up. Balthazar's still at 230 gold per minute, so still not farming very well at all, and he's just, I'm not sure if he's ever going to recover at this point. I'm not sure if there's enough game left for him to be going, yeah, I can get to 300, 350 GPM. And so there's just not a hero that farms all that well. Maybe if you get him a Grimoire or something like that, he would do a lot better, but obviously not going to go for that route at this point, considering how late in the game it is. Instead picks up a Mighty Blade. And I'm not quite sure what that is, but I sort of hope it's not a Shrunken Head. Because that'll stop Pyro and Hag a lot of their damage, but it won't stop any right clicks, obviously. It's not going to stop Mickey, it's not going to stop Keizu, so... You know, why? Like, what, it's not... Nah. Obviously, two heroes here looking for a bait on Bubbles, but sitting right on top of a board site, so... Meantime, bottom tower will get pushed out. And double damage, Drunken Master is going to be able to do plenty to this creep wave, and perhaps even push the base here. They've got 4 heroes. Staff the Master on Mickey. And that's always fun. So his Seismic Slam range is going to be really, really huge now. Should be able to hit multiple heroes with relative ease, especially considering the portal key setup. Hag going to be in a little bit of trouble here, as she gets jumped right away, and yep, that's a dead Hag. So Ophelia trying to save her, but that was 4 heroes with a lot of burst damage, and you're not living through that, Mr. Hag. Lensmice still farming quite well, 400 GPM, and the rest of his team is obviously doing extremely well also, so not the biggest deal, and getting aggressive there, trying to steal as much farm as he can from his opponents is definitely the right play to go. Because you take a few camps, even if you die, you're net even. And that's farm that the Hellborn now doesn't have. Meanwhile, Keizu in the bottom lane, and of course opens up your own jungle, so your team gets safe farm. And Keizu's in some trouble, as he's also going to fall, so... This is good. This is what SynC Ice needs to do. This is what I said before, get aggressive, find pickoffs. Run around the map, just trying to make the SynC guys a little bit more scared. And say, look, we're gonna, if you try to farm aggressively, we're going to kill you, so now you can't do that anymore. Legion side looking for a gang squad running through the woods. Obviously Legion is still pretty far up, but no doubt have the capacity at this point to lose this game. I'm zoning out a little bit, I don't know why. We've sort of entered a lot more passive phase, so just sort of watching things happen. And it does feel like SynC is sort of allowing Sweet Like Ice to get back into this game. They're farming perhaps a little bit too aggressively, and like I said, to their credit though, Ice is taking advantage of that. They're like, look, if you're going to be this far up, if you're going to be in our woods all the time, we're going to pick you off, and we're going to make you pay for it. And as a result, I think SynC responded to that, going, all right, well, if you're going to punish us, then we won't do that anymore. Playing a little bit more conservative. They've got all sorts of stuff in the woods with a couple of Ophelia illusions, making sure everything is scattered out, trying to prevent their opponents from being able to jump them. Bottom lane's Flens will take advantage of the lane control he's afforded and turn this into some farm, hopefully. But again, see, he's scared now because they've gotten picked off a few too many times and they don't have vision in the woods. So he's going, I can't even farm in my own short lane behind a second tier tower because I might get jumped. And that's the kind of attitude that Sweet Like Ice absolutely have to instill in their opponents. They're not going to deward some of their own jungle. They're going to try to take control back of this map. Obviously, getting a ward down there will be very valuable. So SynC responding very appropriately, going, yeah, you guys got aggressive, and we're going to respect that. And we're not going to take stuff that you were giving us before because all of a sudden we can't take it freely. Up to the side hero Ophelia, going to run into a couple of heroes, but they will instead get kicked out of the Legion Woods. And the gank squad for the Hellborn getting broken up a little bit here. As Balthazar continues to try to increase his farm, 275 GPM now, getting closer and closer to something valuable. Could also be a Staff of Master. I didn't mention that, but I don't think I'd like to see that either. Honestly, I'm not even sure what I'd really like. Maybe a Firebrand into either a Geobane or a Dawnbringer. I think at the very least the Firebrand would be extremely valuable. So he will go for the staff. That's not the worst, really, by any means. It's perhaps his highest damage potential because he's just not going to live too much through these fights. But obviously concerted effort coming down here as the Legion side are pushing as 5. But the Hellborn are going to counter that. We're not going to let you push into our base without being opposed. So, Hellborn getting boxed down a little bit there, but obviously defending their high ground. Their bot tower does lose a fair bit of health, and Kongor Dust of Rev going off. And they're going to get scattered out here as a Shell Surf spots that Kongor's going down. He's all purple. Why is he all purple? Over here, Flens could be in some trouble. Nope, should be fine. Hey, Swindle Mill is empty. jump there by Meraxis onto a couple, but Case is going to drop the trumpet head, and immediately Bubbles goes down. Poison Burst goes in the bot, but man, everybody's falling on the Hellborn side. 3 down already. Parasite and Bubbles and Meraxis going to join them in the grave. Bat Blast goes here onto Balthazar, and he will also fall. Poison Burst does eventually take down both Panny and Mickey, but that's a 4 for 2. Man, a lot of damage came out really quickly. And I will counter a ward right here. And Congore's going to be interrupted as Bubbles bot back. So, decent enough fight back there. Obviously went pretty well in favor of the Legion side, but they do stop the Congore attempt with the Bubbles buyback. Top lane Flens once again getting aggressive here in the long lane, and without too much vision, so gonna have to be a little bit careful. But with most everybody dead, he's not in too much danger, obviously. Slide by items we haven't discussed too much yet, but KZU going for the impressive de-armor build with the shield breaker and now finishing up a breastplate relatively soon, so he's going to be doing an insane amount of physical damage. And is already. Obviously very nice. Ophelia going for Fat Auras, Plate of Greaves on top of Astrolabe, Barrier, Idol, and Ring of Sorcery. So she just loves her friends. Up top, KZU is going to finish off complement the Grimoire with a shrunken head. Makes plenty of sense considering the Slither, the Energy Field, the Bubbles, Parasite, all sorts of magic damage on the Hellborn side, and wanting to protect herself from that. Obviously KZU having a shrunken as well, didn't mention that. I expect Rally picking up one relatively soon. Bubbles has picked up his portal key and an Arcana, so likely looking for a Hellflower here to shut down that wretched hag. Meraxis did pick up a barbed armor a while ago after his portal key, and the Soul's Bulwark on top of that to stop some of the de-armor, I assume, from KZU. Although it's currently set to offensive, but we'll see what happens in team fights. Engineer, mostly nothing. Parasite did end up going the puzzle box route, which I figured was going to be the choice after the Neophytes book, but the Codex didn't work out so well. And definitely the correct decision, I think, there, especially considering all the AoE damage to the Legion side can absolutely kill that Mauler by accident. Seismic Slam, Pyromancer, Bat Blast from Wretched Hag. There's plenty of opportunity for it. And, of course, Slither did go for the Staff of the Master, and now has another Mighty Blade here. I hope that's not a Shrunken once again. Just because the physical damage is what's to be concerned about here for the Legion side. It's KZU and the Drunken Master that's providing a ton of damage. Let's look at it. And actually, yeah, it's Rally first, and then KZU. But both obviously heavy physical sources. And Congra is going to be taking a lot of damage here. But obviously the wards go down, so there knows something's going on. Meanwhile, off to the side, Barbed Armor gets dropped by Meraxis, plus the Arcane Shield won't go down. Kelfield is on to do as well. Energy Field in a pretty good placement, actually. Bat Blast hits nothing. Meraxis portal keys away. Parasite trying to get something here, but he's going to pay for that. KZU just doing way too much physical damage. Off to the side here, Boundai Invis Pyromancer will get a stun onto Balthazar, who drops the Poison Spray on a 3, actually, but he's going to pay for that. In the meantime, Panny also falls, so ends up being a support for a carry, obviously in favor of the Legion side. Rally jumping back in and trying to look for more aggression, but will not find it. So 2 picks for the Legion side and 1 for the Hellborn, as they lose both their jungler and their carry in exchange for only the support Pyromancer. Taking with the GPM torch once again. KZU's way up there at 500 GPM, and behind him is Wretched Hag. After that, it drops off pretty substantially, 300 GPM from Ophelia, Rally, Bubbles, Meraxis, and almost Slither. He's trying. Bless his heart, he's trying. Currently sitting at 2, 9, and 4, so... Whew. Slither just not having a game. Over here, KZU looking to jump on Conware once again, but the entire Hellborn side is alive. So perhaps not the greatest idea. the side here, Miraxis is sort of caught out in the jungle. I don't think that they see him. He's got a portal key available, so he should be mostly okay. Also has a TP, of course. Over here, Bound Eye on Pyromancer is activated. Keizu gonna steal some Ancients. Will kill a ward. And that's gonna turn into a combo kill. As the Hellborn side are relatively dispersed, they're just gonna try to get here as soon as they can, but I'm not sure if there's gonna be in time. Nope, Convor is definitely gonna follow this time. And Flens will pick up the token. We'll see if they turn that into an immediate push or if it's gonna be a bit of a delayed push. Looks pretty immediate. So it looks like they'll be running down middle lane. I didn't even notice that Keizu has a freaking Alchemist Bones. That's interesting. I don't know if that is that for Parasite or something. Jump there by Miraxis onto Keizu. Is he gonna be able to get the Shrunken Head off? Yes, but just barely. And can run to the Cal field here, so he should be okay. In the meantime, Flens is getting locked down. Mika in the background, gonna get the Seismic Slam onto 3. So much damage. And Miraxis is also gonna pay for this. Keizu just barely alive, taking the drink charges, trying to live. The Shrunken Head has worn off. Shell Surf going into the background. But Archtaker falls in the meantime. Miraxis does buy back, as does Bubbles. But Balthazar going to fall in the meantime as Flens has his Shrunken Head up. He's trying to get away now as he's finished off Silder, but that's not going to happen. He's going to lose, actually already lost his token and loses his life here. Ophelia going to drop to Bubbles very possibly as she's taking a ton of damage. So that was interesting. It did cost them a couple of buybacks, but they killed technically 5 heroes there as they dropped both Flens' token and the hero himself. They did get the tower, but considering how that fight started, I mean, Mika had a really, really good initiation, killed 2 people right off the bat with a Seismic Slam and nearly a third. So, given how that fight started, I'm kind of shocked it went the way it did. I guess the rotation just wasn't there after, they had blown their first cycle of spells. Legion side just didn't really have the follow-up to be able to handle the buybacks from the Hellborn team. And Keizu getting locked down so early, he just took so much damage really early on. It wasn't able to be enough of a factor in that fight. Otherwise, he would have been able to do a lot more damage. But he just took so much off the bat. He could never be in there without being afraid he was going to die. So, good fight back from the Hellborn side. They once again do lose their tower, but they keep it up. They're still down pretty substantially, 23k gold, 26k experience. So this game is by no means in their hands, and in fact is quite in the Legion's hands. 450 GPM on Flensmeister, and he picks up a Sheep Stick. We'll see what Keizu's next item is. He's got 2,500 gold. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Rift Shards or a Heart, depending on whether he wants to go the more offensive or defensive route. I expect it's going to be the offensive route. Savage Mace or Rift Shards.
Well, it's a start.
Okay. Bottom lane, they're baiting Miraxis, sort of, off of the side here. Mickey, is he going to run into a couple? No. Ultra Lord is there, and they're going to find Parasite, actually. Off the side, they are going to jump onto Miraxis. Seismic Slam does a ton of damage before the Barbed Armor can come out, and he's just going to run away. Meanwhile, over here, Balthazar actually gets the pick off onto... Or, sorry, Flens and Keizu get the pick off on Balthazar, other way around. Balthazar gets picked off. Bubbles finishing up that Hellflower. And Axe the Malphite on Drunken, so it will be the beginning of this heart for him. This is one of the more geared Drunken Masters we've seen. Doesn't typically happen all that much. Regen gratefully appreciated by Pyromancer as he gets his health and all sorts of mana back. Middle lane, they're trying to do some counter pushing here, but I think this is probably going to be Rax if they really want it. They can likely take a team fight here. And Slither did buy back, and that's what's causing them to leave. So, Legion will clean up the Hellborn Woods and continue to take resource control. Now, nearly 30k experience ahead. And we're moving into the portion of the game where they need to have Solar be effective, and he's just not going to be at 260 GPM. And this is... It was bad before, but it's still getting worse, because now Bubbles and Meraxes, who were actually mildly effective before, are really not. Because their damage output is just going down and down and down as the Shrunken Heads start to get picked up, as people get a little bit more tanky, and their right clicks just don't do very much. It's a bit of an issue. Meanwhile, off the side here, Pandy getting jumped by the immediate Sheep Stick there onto Parasite. He's gonna die, so Shrunken Head gets used by Flensmeister, but does get a kill for it. Meanwhile, off the side here, Meraxes will take a Sonar Scream there, just gonna pour it out, and he should be fine. Over here, notable Nick did pick up the Refresher, so he's gonna have double Seismic Slam, which is pretty hilarious. So he should be able to compel slam, if he plays that right. And if you had like everybody grouped up, that would kill all of them. Which is... I kind of want to see it happen. We're actually going to jump in here onto a couple, and so is Bubbles, drops the kill field onto 4, in fact, but there comes Mickey. Seismic Slam actually just hits Meraxes as they kill the Adro right off the bat. Meraxes now in a lot of trouble, getting locked down by Keizu, who's continuing to fight this, wants to go forward. Balthazar going to be the next target, so much physical damage. Meraxes buys back, but not going to be able to do too much here, as they've already got 3 heroes down. Parasite will be back in a moment. So obviously he was killed way earlier, but that's the mid-rax. Behe Heart finished up by Keizu. Hellflower goes down onto Flensmeister, and he's actually going to continue to get jumped here. Base Hug comes in as well, but Seismic Slam again, thanks to the Refresher. Fireman's locking everybody down. Flens will get away, and both heroes are going to die. And there's a GG's. So, things not going super well here for Sweet Like Ice. They hung in for 47 minutes, which is pretty good. You know, considering how their laning phase went, they had a real good shot at winning this game, but it never really felt like it because I don't know, just it never felt like SynC was anything other than in control, despite the fact that they didn't really win the laning phase. I think that comes down to some pretty poor decision making. They had a bit of time in the you know mid late game, I guess, but where they took some picks and they took some control back and they got SynC a little bit scared, and that was great. But it didn't last very long, and well, I guess that's what happens when your best late game is Slither and she sits at 260 gold per minute for the entire game. Anyway, that'll do it for game 1 here. It goes to SynC, and we'll be back with game 2.